tablet, laptop, desktop, Mac, PC, whatever you have, any glass surface. We even have our own channel, the Gadget Professor, on the Roku box. So we're easy to get to, we're easy to watch, and hopefully we're fun to watch. And again, if you're not familiar with Don Bain and the Gadget Professor show, I'd love to have you join us and have some fun. Now, you also can follow me on Facebook. And that would be Facebook.com/The Gadget Professor. And if you follow me on Facebook, you'll notice that I've been putting up photos every night when I get out of here of things that I've seen during the day. Yesterday we had a great fun interview with Callie Lewis. That was an absolute blast. What a delightful person she is. I just can't say enough about her. I just literally dragged her in. I didn't know her personally, and I just said, "Hey, Callie, come on over." And she was just bubbly and fun, smart, intelligent, and I really appreciated Callie coming on the show. It was a lot of fun. And then here you see yesterday we had a picture of Phil Worthington, co-founder of Livestream, and we did a great interview with him on their new control surface, and he actually brought in his new Google Glass invention. So live streams they're definitely innovators in this space. So again, watching the Gadget Professor, you're going to get all kinds of information. And last but not least, I'm going to mention something a little different that the Gadget Professor does. And this is not too well known, this site, but it's called Rebel Mouse. And Rebel Mouse essentially takes our tweets, and it actually gives you a pictorial of everything that we tweet about. And I tweet probably 100 times a day, if you can believe that. But what the Rebel Mouse page does is it takes all those tweets and actually gives you a pictorial of all the latest gadgets, all the latest inventions that come out by the hour. So you can go to this page literally every 20 minutes, and it's updated with all new kinds of technology. And some of the stuff is absolutely cool and really fun to keep an eye on. I watch the page myself to see what's new. That's how I get informed. So the way you can do that is go to rebelmouse.com/Gadget Professor and just join. It's totally free. And if you want to follow me at Twitter, it's @Gadget Professor, @Gadget Professor. So that's enough information about me. Let's get started off this morning. Our first guest is going to be from VMIX. That's VMIX, and I actually have their website here. So we'll put that in the background, and I'm honored to meet for the first time Mr. Martin Sinclair. How are you, sir?
Hey, good.
Welcome to the Gadget Professor show. Let's bring that mic right up there.
Yep.
So I'm fairly familiar with your product. They're always impressive, and you have a marvelous website, and that would be VMIX. That's VMIX.com, and you can go to their site.
VMIX.com.au.
That's right. I forgot the AU.
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah, so we're from Australia. Yeah.
You have a very mild accent.
Yeah, sort of start to assimilate over here in the.
Where in Australia are you from?
From the Gold Coast.
Okay.
Up in Queensland. So,
Okay,
yeah.
Wildman Mike, who's running the camera, did some time in Australia and loves it, and actually wants to go back at some point in time. So it's a beautiful country, from what I understand.
Yeah, it's great weather there at the moment.
Super, super. So, tell us all about VMIX.
Yeah, so VMIX is a live production software that runs on any PC, and using the capture cards or webcams or pretty much any sort of video input, you can create a live production, multicam production. Also supports graphics, lower thirds, video clips, pretty much anything you need in the production. And I guess the origins of VMIX is wanting to create an affordable production for perhaps those podcasters who can't afford a TriCaster or. And
there's a lot of those people who can't afford a TriCaster.
Yeah, so we tried to make VMIX, have the same high caliber level of features and performance as a TriCaster, but you could sort of customize it on your PC and build a live production that way.
Let me ask you a couple questions, and I'm known for asking questions that no one else asks, because no one else thinks of them, I guess. I don't know. My first question would be, give me a sense, you said you can add your software onto pretty much any PC. Obviously, you'd want a beefy PC. You'd want an i7, I would imagine, with a certain amount of RAM and a certain, speed and performance.
Well, yeah, that's, I guess, one of the unique advantages of VMIX is it does all of its graphics processing on the graphics card.
Right.
So, if you have an i7, that's great for recording and streaming and coding, but VMIX itself is purely doing all its processing in the graphics card, so you free up that i7. So what I would say is, if you have a PC, you just need to drop in an NVIDIA, say 650, 750, 660 graphics card.
So it's the graphics card that's actually doing the work.
Yeah. But one of the things we're seeing happen, which is really great for VMIX, is Intel's own embedded graphics now is
Right.
getting a lot faster and greater in performance. So over in our booth here at NAB, we have 3 demos. We have like a computer system,
Right.
one by Next Computing,
Right.
One by DV Streamline.
We've heard of NMX Computing several times, and actually they're going to be on the show a little bit later.
Yeah, so we have those systems, conventional building a
Right.
PC specifically for the live production. And we also have a MacBook Pro, and we've
Oh, really?
installed Windows on it. And because the latest MacBook Pro uses the latest Intel graphics,
Right,
it
right.
does quite well with 2 or 3 HD cameras.
Right. Now, what software do you use, if I may ask, to apply the Windows 7 to the Mac
Yeah,
operating system?
so we use, for our demo, we've just used the boot camp provided by Apple.
Everybody has a different remedy for that. I'm just curious what you use. So
Yeah.
you use Boot Camp. Okay.
Boot camp, and we're running Windows 8.1. on
Really?
it. Yeah.
How do you like Windows 8.1? Now watch his face, because
In the early days, it was a bit hard to wrap my head around. But the more
Right.
and more I've used it,
did you update to 8.1?
Yeah, and so Microsoft
better?
has slowly been, bringing the start menu back.
Is
and,
8.1 better?
well, as far as VMIX goes, 8 and 8.1 are just as fast
Right.
as each other.
Right.
But
For your
the
specific
interface, yeah, I find 8.1 a lot
Okay.
easier to use.
All right, let's try to dig down now. Give me a feel for your feature set. Now, how many variations of the product are there? I'm looking here, and I'm assuming you have a basic HD. You have a 4K system?
Yeah, so that's one of the new things this year, and Basic is free. It's in standard definition, but it's a great way if they just have a couple of webcams.
Okay, what feature sets do you offer? Do you have chroma keying?
Yeah, so
Okay, so on the basic unit you get chroma keying.
you get 99% of the features of VMIX. in
99%.
Basic. The only limitations in Basic are that you can only do it in SD, and
Right.
you have a maximum of 2 cameras and 4 inputs total. So if you're just doing a basic podcast with, say, 2 webcams, lower thirds, and a video playback, that's the scope of what Basic offers. And then you can move up to Basic HD.
Okay, now I see basic HD obviously is HD, so you
Yeah.
get 1080p.
Yeah, so that's so you pay $55 US, and you get the HD support with the same feature set as Basic.
There's only $4 difference between Australia and the United States.
Yeah, so the Australian dollar and US dollar are sort of fluctuating a lot these days, but
that's an understatement.
yeah. So it used to be that the Australian dollar was actually $65 compared to $59, but now we're sort of back under the US dollar again.
Okay, so now you get 3 capture inputs. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the capture inputs? Are they HDMI or they're not SDI?
Well, yeah, it just depends on the hardware. So
On your graphics card.
well, on the capture hardware you have as well. So the graphics card is doing all the processing.
I meant the capture card, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have, say, a card from Matrox, like the VS4 card, which has 4 HD SDI inputs.
So you could configure whether you want HDMI or SDI or whatever based on what capture card you put in, and that's up to you essentially.
Yeah. So that's, I
Okay.
guess, the flexibility.
That's good because exactly
Yeah.
it gives you the flexibility. Okay, and okay, so you have 1920 by 1080p, right? And you have 1 overlay channel. Okay, and that's $55 US. And all the feature sets are the same. We're just dealing with a little difference in terms of capture and resolution.
Yeah. There's a couple of extra things there. So when you move up from Basic HD to the other versions, SD, HD, and 4K, they have 4 overlay channels. So if you're using multiple, you want a bug on your screen as well as a lower thirds, then you would use one of those versions. And then there's a couple of other really high-end features in the 4K.
Now, do you really expect people to be doing 4K editing?
4K is sort of a way of us saying VMIX is capable of doing 4K, so you're going to have no problems with your HD production. But as 4K becomes more and more popular and live streaming in 4K starts to take off, VMIX is ready to go.
Well, certainly, we talked about it. Every year there's a different thread, if you will, or a buzz at NAB. Last year it was the 4K TV and the 3D. I haven't heard the word 3D mentioned this year at NAB, which is astonishing since last year it was definitely definitely the buzz, without question. This year, it's 4K. It's 4K and it's 4K editing. And it's interesting to me because 4K right now, just in terms of capturing, is becoming cheaper. You have the Black Magic entry for I think it was $3,000. You're in the 4K space. So the prices are coming down. There's been a proliferation, if you will, of 4K capture devices. Cameras is what I'm specifically talking about. But the editing has a long way to go, and I mean, you need some serious storage to be dealing with 4K. I mean, some serious storage.
So in the editing nonlinear space, we've produced a couple of 4K videos for demonstration, so we run them through VMIX, and I would agree. We required a really powerful machine just to edit the video and create a video clip.
Yeah, and in those situations, again, you won't be, you'd be surely using an i7, but you need some serious power in the graphics card to handle that.
But as far as playback and switching a couple of 4K cameras, VMIX does that on, say, a 660 GeForce.
Correct.
So as far as just doing simple live 4K stuff,
you're right.
VMIX can do that. But I've found in the editing space, it seems to be a lot more power
so
there.
Essentially, what I'm trying to point out is it's two different worlds.
Yeah.
If you're live and switching 4K cameras, it's not that big of a drain, if you will, or strain even on the camera. Camera just does its job, so it's not a strain on the computer. But once you get into the aesthetics of editing, color shaping, all that stuff, it's a whole different game. Now, let's drill down a little bit here. I noticed when you jump to the 4K, it's 1,000 inputs.
Yeah, so
that's a lot of inputs.
Well, it's
Have you ever known anybody to use 1,000 inputs?
Well, the origin of was it we used to have that as 100, and we thought no one would ever need 100. And then we had a customer come along that had a really long day of production and a lot of guests, and they needed 100 lower thirds. So they just kept loading in all these titles. Thought 100's not enough for us. So that's why we said we made it 1,000. This way, I'm pretty sure no one will ever need that much.
Okay, so it's 1,000 inputs, 1,000 capture inputs. Obviously, it's 496 by 2160, which is 4K. You have 4 overlay channels, which is nice. You have a video list and a multi-quarter. Tell us about your multi-quarter. Is that kind of a DVR?
ISO recording capability.
Oh, it's ISO, okay.
So what customers generally use it for is they have 4 camera production, and they record the raw video of those. Because when you're doing a live production, sometimes the switcher operator might switch to a camera too quickly or something, and you want to upload it to YouTube. You can go through and get the raw video and do your own editing and fine-tuning of that later on.
Okay, so now we're going to move over to your HD product, which is 1,000 inputs, 1,000 capture inputs, 920 by 1080, 1920 by 1080, 4 overlays and a video list, and then your last is your SD, which is what, I guess, standard def again, your SD?
So same as HD, just in
but
standard definition,
Okay, let's do a little drill down, if we may. Talk about transitions, let's talk about special effects transitions. I don't know what's in your box. What about titling, lower thirds? Are those created within your space, within the VMIX space, or do I need to go outside of that?
Yeah, so we have a whole lot of title templates or lower third templates built in, and you can edit the text in real time. So you can create one title, and you can have whole presets for all your guests coming up.
Right.
And you can also design your own titles. So say you want to create your own graphics with your logo in Photoshop.
So you supply the templates, which actually is going to make it nice and easy.
Yeah.
If you're not a graphic artist, and you're basically going to just type what it is that you want.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you have the ability to change the font, to change the size, and those types of things.
Yeah, and then if they use Photoshop, we have a separate app that comes with VMIX called the VMIX Title Designer, and that allows you to combine graphics and create your own titles and put the spots there for all the
transitions?
text. Yeah, so I have all the traditional cut and fade, and then we have wipes and slides and zoom effects.
Okay.
And also we have, in addition to those sort of standard transition effects, we have a lot of video graphical effects such as layers. So you can have double box effects or quad box effects of 4 guests simultaneously.
Now, I noticed somewhere on your site you actually have you can watch your demo. I'm going to click that. We're not going to run the demo because it's more fun talking to Martin live, but there's an actual demo of, if we can go on the laptop, Justin. You actually have a video, and there's tons of videos out there that actually show people demoing the actual unit, and gives you a good overview of what the functionality of that unit is. Now, I have the ability here, because actually we're using a TriCaster, so that if Justin wanted to put me in the lower left or right hand corner, he can do that real easy. Now, do you have that functionality to do that?
Yeah, so picture-in-picture effects.
Okay.
You can combine up to 25 layers. It's the layers there are there for 5 layers. You can combine 5 layers with a backdrop, and then you can use that, what I guess in the TriCaster world is called re-entry. So you could take that box with 5 different cameras and a graphics, and then you could put that in another box, so you
Right.
have that. So up to 25 layers and combinations of different inputs in different positions.
If I wanted to bring someone in Skype, let's say, and put them in a box and put them in the left-hand corner or wherever I want them, that's obviously simple to
Yeah,
do.
so you would set up Skype on a separate PC. You would
Right.
take the output of that into one of the capture inputs, and then it's just another input that you can resize and position and layer as you need.
Now, do you have recommendations as to? I know you have choices, which is nice. And what's nice about this, what's nice to me about this product is the price point. If you, even if you have a church or a high school, for example, and again, a live stream box or a StreamStar box, or certainly a new tech TriCaster is just too pricey. I mean, your most expensive package here is, well, I didn't do the math, but it's $700 in Australia, so it's going to be probably about $630. You're getting a full-blown production system that you can slap on your computer, and that's huge.
Yeah,
With
so
chroma keying, with titling, with the ability to bring in a Skype call. How do you handle audio?
so you can bring in separate audio inputs.
Are you having fun here?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, and you could bring in, for example, the audio directly from your cameras. So see here you have...
we're going through a mixer.
You've got a mixer, and you bring
Right.
your audio into the camera and then
Yes.
into the TriCaster, so you could do the same sort of thing in
And that's all
VMIX.
functional with your cards, too, that you have in the system.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a recommendation when you were to buy your software that, we recommend any of the following brands or types of cards, or do you have a preference?
Well, yeah, we've been working with a lot of different vendors of cards. We try to support them all, just so that a lot of our customers come along and say they already have the hardware,
Right?
And they have been using different technologies in the past. So we try to have a greatest coverage. But I guess this year at NAB we've just added support for the Matrox cards.
Yeah, I love their cards. I've been using those cards probably since they came out. They're from Canada, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they've been really great as well. So just most of the vendors here we've been talking to over the few years, and we've been providing support for them.
So that, as I'm understanding it in our discussions, that really your software is going to do its job because that's what it's meant to do, and really the graphics card obviously has to be somewhat important.
Yeah.
But it's really the capture card that is going to determine what it is that you want to do and what your configuration ultimately will be.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, what happens if we purchase your software and we're brand new to this industry? We're a high school, and like I said, we don't have a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 to buy a full-scale production system. It seems that you've covered all the basics here, and we purchase your software, and we have a question. We just don't know how to do A, B, or C. Do you have support?
Yeah, so the different support options available is we're working with our resellers and distributors over here in the US.
Yes.
To provide support packages at an affordable price to various organizations. But in the traditional level of support, we have an active forum with a lot of users there all around the world that are just willing to help out and give advice. We also have email support, so anyone can email us at any time with any questions they have, and we can provide support for that.
What happens if I was in the middle of a production or just starting something and I ran into a problem? Is there any way that you have phone support?
So that's what we're trying to
I'm
work
putting
with
you
our
on the spot.
resellers and distributors, so that they have a local time zone phone number they can
Right.
call. So those options, we have a couple of resellers in the US already that can do that. So they
Great.
just give them a call, go to their website and say, hey, how much does it cost if we can just call you in the middle of production and get some help?
Well, Martin, I appreciate you coming in for the interview today. You did a great job, and this looks like a really solid entry system, and it's better than an entry-level system. I mean, some of the capability you have is actually astonishing for the price point. So I hope, wish you a lot of success, and maybe we'll be by later on to say hello at your booth.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's VMIX, VMIX.com. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure seeing you. And have a safe, wonderful trip back to Australia.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there you go, folks. VMIX, certainly a great way, a great entry system into the streaming and the video business. It's quite robust, as we can see. And you actually have the ability to go on their website and get a free trial for 60 days. That's pretty cool. So you can run it through its paces. You can figure out what's going on, what's not going on. If you have any questions, again, you can email VMIX, call your vendor who sold it to you, and you'll get your questions answered. So right now we're going to bring up a company called JVC, and we have Mr. David Walton here. David and Don Bain, the Gadget Professor, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Don. Good to see you.
How you doing today?
Just hanging in there.
Hanging in there?
It's morning, so there's a little bit of energy here.
Yep, yeah,
but
one more day.
If we were doing, well, word has it that I heard that the origin of the term TGIF has something to do with the NAB.
Well, I heard it had origins with CES, oddly enough.
Well,
I guess we use that actually did,
because all of these shows end, and we're just glad when they're over.
I understand.
But we love it. We keep coming back, and this is my 34th NAB.
Wow. Assistant Vice President of Marketing. This is your 34th NAB.
That's right.
Oh, my God. That's great.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, I don't need to introduce the company JVC. JVC speaks for itself. One of my favorite things that JVC makes actually is I'm a big fan of your cameras. We use your cameras and have used them for quite some time. And I must say we have one or two models that are probably 7 years old, believe it or not. I know we're ready for upgrades, but they have never, ever, ever once failed. And we pound them, so that's straight from the Gadget Professor's mouth.
We hear that a lot from the customers, and of course we have to rely now because in the past, upgrades would come when things wore out.
Right.
You had tape mechanisms, and people put cassettes in, and there's lots of mechanical
components. There's a lot of moving parts, so that's going to create, wear and tear
and back even in the old days when we had tubes in the cameras, those would burn out. So
we don't talk about tubes.
We had tube cameras, and they needed to be retubed. We had tape machines that needed to be realigned, and eventually the stuff just wore out, and you had to replace it. But nowadays, the stuff that's 5, 6, 7 years old, which is solid state, which is all solid state chips, recording, everything. How do we replace those? Because it's a challenge as a manufacturer. So we keep coming out with new features,
Absolutely.
New capabilities, and depending on the market, the feature set has to be contoured for that market. For example, television broadcast, and particularly the news organizations, are looking for more efficient ways to put more reporters on the street. And they're looking for ways to cut their overhead at the same time. So what we came out with a couple of years ago was a model called the GY HM650 that would do live streaming from the camera. You could plug a LTE modem into the camera and actually stream a live news report. What we've done is we've expanded that this year with 2 new shoulder-supported cameras that have that also have that feature. And we've really improved the reliability of the streaming. We partnered with a company called Zixi, and we put advanced error correction into the cameras. It works in conjunction with a server at the station, which will accommodate up to 30% packet loss. And the Zixi capability gives us enough reliability that a crew can go out into the field, and with their shoulder cameras, they can stream a live news report. We have recently been...
Is this the video camera, the live stream?
No, that's the consumer site. You need to go to JVC Professional in order to pull that up.
JVCprofessional.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pro.jvc.com, and you'll be able to see all about it. But what the ENG crews are using out there in the field that allows them to do live HD reports basically eliminates the need to have a truck accompany them. So they can do a news report from the field without a microwave truck.
It's funny that you mention that because even around NAB, I mean, you see a million camera crews, and you look. I got to tell you, they're all JVC cameras. I don't think, and I look to see what people are using, but JVC is almost the de facto standard. I'm not telling you anything new, but
it's rapidly becoming that way. Right here in Las Vegas, the NBC affiliate just bought 16 of our shoulder cameras, and they're planning to do this new style of reporting from the field where they can actually stream live, because typically a station
I don't mean to
is...
interrupt. Which camera are we going to take a look at here? Because I want to show the audience.
My glasses on, and that is...
Because we actually have the ability to...
Right on the one before that...
Oh, I can't back that up.
Again.
Okay.
But the 6, that's the 650, and
this is the HM600.
Cycle back.
Okay, which one are we looking for?
It's actually the first one on that little
five
okay. Dots.
Here we go.
And then we just click on that.
Okay, so this is the GY HM890U.
Yes.
Pro HD shoulder camcorder. I got to tell you, I mean, in the professional space, $10,000 is a very reasonable price for a piece of machinery like this, especially with the specs that this has. So again, you have the price points, and Lord knows you have the specs.
Well, here's how a station would use this. For example, the station here in Las Vegas, the NBC affiliate, just bought 16 of those. They will put a server in to their main facility that all these cameras will point to when they're equipped with LTE modems.
Right.
So they don't have 16 trucks, obviously,
of course
but
not.
They can have 16 cameras in the field.
Sure.
And they all point to the same server, and the people back at the station now can choose which camera they want to feed out to air.
Now, that connection between the 16 cameras in the field and the home spot, is that something that's internal in the camera, or are you going through like routers like Cobalt or something like that?
It's a wireless Verizon LTE modem that you can buy down at the Verizon store. You get a business contract with them, so that you can share data amongst your various field reporters. But if you have good LTE in your area, or if you're in an AT&T area or some other area where you have a different provider, that works too. But now you can share data amongst all of those. They all point to the same server.
You're finding that the wireless connections with Verizon and AT&T are at a point now where they're actually able to stream the video reliably?
Just now getting to that point, and with our Zixi error correction built in, we can be much more tolerant of the packet loss. So we're getting better at transmitting through marginal connections, and they're improving the connections at the same time.
All right, forgive me. Let's drill down to that a little bit, because if I'm a news station and I have someone, a crew out there covering, God forbid, a fire or an emergency, whatever the case may be, and I'm dependent upon a cell phone tower, if you will, whether it's Verizon or AT&T, I don't care whose it is. And first of all, the first question is, how reliable is it? Percentage-wise, are you going to get 90% of the time you're going to get it? Can you give me it's certainly not 100%.
Right.
Okay. So can you, and again, I'm just asking, I'm not trying to, no one knows the answer. I'm just curious.
It depends on the community, and I think what the broadcasters are realizing is that even with other solutions, they're not going to be out there 100% of the time. They're not going to be out there with a truck in every situation.
Well, if you had satellite, you'd be prone to have a better
But you still have to have a satellite uplink to the truck. But you're not going to drive a satellite truck out to every location, and you're not going to have one with every camera in the field.
So it's safe to say that, if you can get it, you can get it. It's the best that's available today, and it's getting better.
And that's the key. It is improving and improving and improving. The choices they have are this. They'll have a number of trucks. They may have some backpacks with bonded modems, which use multiple modems for increased reliability, and there's nothing wrong with that. Most of that technology was developed when 3G was the most prominent connections. But they're only going to have a few of those, if that many. But they may have 10, 15, 20 cameras, and with our cameras, they can have this capability with every camera. So we're not going to replace the trucks, we're not going to replace the backpacks, but when you're choosing which cameras to use, they choose the JVCs for this reason.
I would. What else you got that's new?
4K.
Okay, this is probably our 15th interview that's mentioned 4K. So this is exciting because I think what you're seeing here, I know what you're seeing here is really the embryonic stages, and I think we're almost out of the embryonic stage of the actual implementation of 4K, because we've had a lot of large companies here, and every single person, including the last gentleman, has mentioned 4K. So I think, we're at the point now where 4K is definitely around the corner. So tell me about your product.
Well, around the corner. 2 years ago, we introduced a $5,000 4K camcorder that would record onto SDHD memory cards. A lot of people said it was ahead of its time, and probably was.
It was.
But we introduced that, and we also have a line of home theater projectors, about 7 models that will project 4K. If
And you have
a
those
4K
at your
source.
booth, actually.
Not in our booth. They're home theater projectors, and we show those at the CEDIA show and the CES show.
I could
but
have
not
sworn I saw a
here at
4K
broadcast
projector.
show.
It might have been someone else's booth.
And so we have a line of 4K projectors. We also build them for flight simulators, for airline cockpits. We even have an 8K projector we provide. We're partnered with Boeing for flight simulators with an 8K projector. But with 4K, which, as you said, is around the corner, we have quite a few products, an 84-inch monitor, and we just introduced 4 models that utilize the same Super 35 millimeter chip made by Altasense, which is a JVC company. We own the chip company, so we can make the imager. And they do everything you could imagine that you would want to do. They will record 4K at 60p. They do all the debayering in the camera, so you can actually produce a live output, which is very difficult for some products to be able to do that.
What's your output? I'm just curious. SDI?
It depends on which model, because one model you get 4 SDI outputs because SDI doesn't yet carry a full 60p 4K image. That would be about 13 gigabits per second, and that's a little bit too much. But depending on the camera, we use the same chip, but for the shoulder-supported camera, we can do 60p 4K, and we can record HD up to 240p for super slow-mo, so it's really cool. And it accepts PL mount lenses, which are cinema-type lenses. A smaller handheld version of that is uses a micro 4/3 inch mount, which allows you to use SLR-type lenses, which are a lot more affordable.
Now, here's the question. Making the 4K cameras are here, they exist. Yesterday, actually, for me, was the first time, and I thought it was a JVC projector. I could be wrong, but actually, I posted on my Facebook page a photograph that I took with a camera of a 4K projection, on the wall, or they had a screen, obviously, and it was a massive screen. It was probably half the size of a movie theater. Don't forget, this is a booth, and we're at NAB. And the quality of that 4K projector and screen, you think 1080p is good. It pales by comparison. And the photograph that I took looked like, if you're familiar with the term HDR photography, that's what it looked like. I looked at the photo, and I couldn't believe the quality of the photo. So now we have the cameras that can unquestionably, for live use, do 4K. And they're exquisite.
And the biggest problem is getting it to the viewer.
That's my question. That doesn't exist, and also a 4K editing system.
Final Cut Pro will edit 4K, and 4K switching isn't as difficult as you might think.
No, 4K. The switching is not. To me, it's the editing.
Switching is done. Final Cut Pro can easily edit 4K ProRes files. You can edit 4K almost as easily as you can edit HD in Final Cut. But the real issue is distribution to the viewer, because
we're not there yet.
We're not, because I'm not sure we're there with HD yet. Consider that. Consider this. We first showed HD back in 1984 when NHK broadcast the LA Olympics. In 1987, the first digital TV stations began broadcasting in the United States. We had a government mandate that required TV receivers to get digital tuners that would be capable of HD reception.
Remember the boxes that you could buy at the store? They were giving away free to convert your...
That's right.
Yeah.
Then we had a form factor change, which perhaps was the biggest driver to purchasing HD capable
I had
sets.
to get rid of my cathode ray tube TV at that time.
Yeah. So and it became much easier for retailers to market flat panels because you did, a 36-inch tube TV was about 190 pounds.
Right.
So you had to have it delivered. Now you can put a 46, 47-inch in your shopping cart and wheel it out to the car.
That's right.
So
For
all
$700
of these things precipitated this migration to HD. But consider this, that 70% of the discs that are viewed now are still DVDs, 480. Two of the four networks are broadcasting 720p. Nothing wrong with that. ESPN is 720p.
Yep.
Not one TV station, zero, is
1080.
broadcasting 1080p.
Yeah, no one.
Nobody.
People don't realize that.
So the question people ask is, well, when are we going to have 4K? And my first answer is that, most people, the majority of Americans, don't really care about pixel count. They like their flat panels even when the power's off. I call the one pixel mode because they just look nicer in their living rooms. A lot of them watch like my hotel room, and I tell people, kind of jokingly, but you can watch Channel 3 out here in Las Vegas, the news, and you see the JVC cameras, but don't judge the quality because my hotel room TV looks like third generation VHS, even though it's an HD set mounted on the wall. But a lot of Americans are like that. They sit 9 feet from the screen, and Bernie Lechner did research in this area and determined that on a 1080 set, you need to sit 5.5 feet in order to see 1080, but Americans are sitting 9 inches. So, so what's that mean for 4K? It means that in order to appreciate 4K, you need bigger screens.
Right, there's a mathematical formulation really for how your eyes perceive and all that kind of stuff.
You need a big set.
Right.
And TVs are getting bigger. 84 inches is a great size, and what you were talking about seeing was projected even bigger.
Yeah.
And there will be a market for 4K in the display side. But I'd say the average home viewer isn't gonna, they're going to be pushing 4K as an upgrade, kind of like they pushed 120p.
But
and
mainstream mom and pa is not going to be buying one. First of all, they just bought the 1080p last week.
And they're not going to really know the difference sitting 9 feet away from the set. On the production side, though,
that's a whole different story.
It's a whole different story because you can get a lot more when you shoot in a higher resolution.
Yeah, but also the way it's distributed. When you're going to the movies, that's a whole different story opposed to
on a 50-foot screen.
TV. Okay, I'm getting the wrap-up sign. So it was a real pleasure. I could talk to you for hours. Thank you so much for coming in. And
one more thing you're going to see around this show, and there's a lot of them here. These unattended aerial vehicles or unmanned aerial vehicles.
You are correct.
We've got 2 of them in our booth.
Oh, do you?
If you're in the Las Vegas area, stop by. We've got these little 4K cameras mounted to them and some incredible demo
footage.
Take
a peek at that.
It is amazing.
I'm going to shoot some video and show that to you guys. Yeah.
And as soon as they figure out what the laws are going to be, these things are going to, pardon the expression, take off.
I had nothing to do with that pun, folks. That's something up and coming also, where are the drones, if you will. So, David, thank you so much, Mr. David Walton from JVC. Thank you very, very much. Look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, sir.
Sure thing. We'll see you.
Thank you. It's always interesting to talk to people who are in the know, and certainly if you have that position of the Assistant Vice President of Marketing Communications for JVC, you really know what's going out there. So interesting conversation about 4K, and let's see what happens. So our next guest is here.
Perry Goldstein.
Barry Goldstein. How
Perry,
are you? So,
like Mason.
Perry. Oh, I have it actually written down here. Perry.
There you go.
Perry is from Marshall, and I must say that yours truly, we do a fair amount of digital signage in one of my companies, and we actually have a couple, Mike, you're yelling to me? We actually have a couple Marshall amps, and you're here to talk to us about microphones. Is that not correct?
MXL. Yes,
and you are part of Marshall?
Yes.
Okay, so Marshall owns or
Wholly owned subsidiary.
Okay, well, let me tell you about the MX, your microphones. I have a passion for microphones, unfortunately. I don't know what it is, but you make some of the coolest microphones, the sexiest looking microphones. Your color selection blows my brains out. Plus the fact they work. They work well.
Well, thank you very much.
I mean that.
Every single microphone here, I'm putting all my stuff away.
Did you give me a card?
No, I'll get one for you.
That's okay. You're going to be here for a couple minutes
Yeah,
anyway.
every single one of our microphones is personally developed by Leonard Marshall himself.
Are you kidding me?
He's a mic aficionado.
I did not know that.
He could do an interview for hours on microphone technology, microphone history, microphone sounds, everything. Yeah. And what's interesting is on the microphone side. So I got my show and tell stuff here.
That's
right?
good. I'm glad you brought that.
Yeah, I got lots of stuff. Is here. Let me start out with this.
No, I want everything you got. We want to see because a lot of people aren't familiar with MXL. They are familiar with Marshall.
So before we get started on anything else, what we're going to do is show you the latest version of Pro Sound News, which is out in the stands in the show today.
Oh my God!
There they did
Look
a
at this.
feature article on.
Mike, get a close up of this.
A view from the top. So we can talk about this for about an hour if you like.
Here, Perry.
This is my favorite subject.
He's going to autograph it for me, and it's going to go on the Gadget Professor's Wall of Fame.
So, anyways, it's been an amazing ride. I've been there 4.5 years, and when I got there, our core competency was, and it still is, studio condensers. Different colors, different sounds, different everything.
Right.
But what we found was all of a sudden we saw a USB mic as a basic boundary mic taking off.
Yes.
And when I say taking off, it was a rocket ship.
Yes.
And we found out that Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 10 companies, were buying it and putting it in their conference room to go with their video conferencing. Because at that time, most people had a little camera up on the top of the TV with a pinhole mic, and they're going, we can't hear anything. So they started bringing the mic down close by. Imagine that, putting a mic close to your mouth where you want it to catch you.
How about that?
And it woke us up and go, wow, there's a whole world.
You know what? Let's do this. Justin, if you can bring up my laptop behind us, we can watch the microphones flip, and we get a nice little background there. And put us
great.
over. If you can overlay us on that, that would be great. And
there's the MMVE001, as you
that make
can
a nice
see.
visual there? Here?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
He'll have us up there. Okay, so go ahead.
So anyway, so it's like, okay, there's definitely a world outside of musical instrument, and
For sure.
it was growing. Now, I categorize our products in 5 basic kind of silos.
Categories. Sure.
Yes. I call performing arts, which is all the condensers and live handheld for stage use, studio use. Then we have audio for video, which has been growing. Microphones that go with DSLRs and cameras and things like that.
A lot of those.
Very important. USB vocal for GarageBand, things like that.
Right. It's a new industry.
Great growth. But the 2 categories that we're focused most on is USB web conferencing.
Really?
Oh, yeah, huge. Because listen to this. Okay, a couple years ago, if you wanted to put a nice web conferencing telepresence system together in your conference room, it was $25,000. You need a ISDN line. You need,
and it still sounds like an echo in the room.
And the emotion was this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now with Skype and Blue Jeans Network and Microsoft Link and all of Google Hangout, all of those, now you need a computer, a camera, and a microphone, and you've got something. But audio still needed a lot of help. So we said, okay, we've got the AC404, which is catching on. What else can we do for this market that we think is really going to be important? So the first thing people said
let's go back to full screen and we'll take a look at this mic. We'll get a close-up.
So the first thing we said is, can we do wireless? So this is a boundary mic. It'll sit on your desk. It's 180 degrees. The reason you want 180 and not the 360, you don't put it in the middle of the table.
Right.
You put it in the front.
Right. You want to fine-tune that cone of...
and it rejects the sound coming out of the speakers.
Right. Let's hold this up and we'll get a close-up.
So this is a 2.4 gig RF. We decided to go with that rather than UHF.
That makes sense.
Rather than Bluetooth, because this will be the best sound.
Correct.
Spread spectrum, so it it keeps rotating channels.
Yes.
So the basic receiver gets hooked into your computer,
Here, let me hold that for you.
This will go about 30 feet away from the receiver, and it'll sit out on the front of the table. It'll be out in about 2-3 months, and we've already got lots of orders for it because
I'm sure
people want to get rid of of the cable. Eventually, what we'll be able to do is have 2 of these going into one receiver, and you get left-right
Sweet.
stereo,
That's sweet.
all wireless.
Nice.
So the conference room now, you can put together a decent conference room for under $1,000 and have access to web conferencing. Every company, imagine how many conference rooms you think are in the world? 5 million.
So you feel that's one of your fastest emerging markets?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. Not just that, but now we're getting into USB cameras because there's a demand for better cameras. We're launching an initiative this next year. We've got a switcher, a video switcher. I didn't bring it with me, but the other guys will bring it. It's a little 1" by 1" HD SDI 1080p camera. All frame rates.
That bell you're hearing in the background sounds like a fight bell, and folks, we're about 3 feet away, maybe 15 feet away from an actual boxing match that's going on. So when you hear that bell, it drives me nuts, but that's what it is.
And it's not us. We're not going to get. Not that I know of.
No,
they didn't tell me. Not yet. So anyway, we're launching this initiative. Imagine now, rather than having one camera on top of a TV or a PTZ during a web conference,
right,
you have strategically placed cameras all over the room, and just like in broadcast, ready on camera 2, take camera 2. Ready on camera 4.
The innovation is there.
It's broadcast-style production in web conferencing. Add quality audio. It's going to be a huge, huge world.
It's brilliant. Now you have some other devices here, and I'm looking like, what's he got here?
So the 5th category, which we launched just this year, and we won Best of NAM for it in January, was our mobile media line. So mobile media is, we wanted to make something, let me get my phone out, something to go to the phone, but we wanted to go into the 1/8 inch, because that means you can go into Android, you can go into Microsoft.
He's talking about going through the headphone jack.
Yes. So there's challenges there, as there's challenges with everything you do, but we thought that would be the most universal. So the first thing we did was we created a concept for a cable, because the cable would be everything. Forgive my spaghetti mess here.
That's okay.
But the first thing that happens when you plug into your headphone jack...
Mike, any way we can move that gentleman's monitor, because he's blocked my view completely. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So once you go into the headphone jack, you lose your own headphone. So we did a Y
so
adapter. We did a Y adapter.
That in, okay.
Yes. So you still you can still get
and obviously there's no impedance drop or sound drop.
No, because the mic is designed to go into here.
Okay.
Our cables all have TRRS.
Right.
So they're designed to go into the phones.
Right. That means that the pin configuration on it is designed so that you're not going to lose the ability to speak or to hear.
Exactly. And the third ring disengages the microphone inside here and activates this. So we did a handheld, and we did the XLR instead of building the mic.
I apologize for the poor quality mic that you're holding, but
that's okay. That's okay. We're all right. So
not
feel
this
that.
one, that one.
Yes, feel that. Wow. That's a solid mic for an interview. Low handling noise.
It really is.
Dual capsule, omni and cardioid, dual gain. But here's the most important thing. So in this world of mobile media, no man is an island. We're not going to do apps. It's not our gig, right?
Right.
So we work with this community called the iFilmmaker community.
Right.
And it's app developers, it's hardware developers, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So
this is very cool.
We recommend an app called Filmic Pro for iOS, FILMIC PRO. He's the only app that allows live audio monitoring.
So you're going to plug that puppy in. Now,
you put your headphones on,
right?
And now you're able to monitor live.
Okay, let's just show people what's happening here, because this is something you may want to use. So you're having your iPhone, you're going into the headphone jack, you plug your own headset in there, whether it's ear headset,
buds,
whatever you want. Okay, that's easy enough. But now you're able to have an XLR additional cable, which allows you to plug in a professional microphone, and you are using your iPhone to do a recording and hear it on a highly professional level. Brilliant.
Thank you. The other reason we left
Brilliant.
this port empty is you can put your external battery, and they're even making
which you will need, because I'm assuming this is going to chew through some.
This doesn't
some voltage, something in there.
This really doesn't, but that app sure does. You know, I mean,
exactly.
when you start recording video,
yeah.
the two things you're
Yeah.
really eating through is battery and memory.
You don't want to even attempt to use any smartphone in video and not have a power cord direct to it, or have multiple backup batteries.
Yes, exactly. So this solves that problem. So now we went to and said, okay, what else do people do with these besides interviews? So we've got a lavalier. It's a large capsule cardioid lavalier. And again, a 6-foot cable, so I can stand back 3, 4, 5 feet
Sure.
and get a nice headshot, and you still have plenty of slack
Right.
in the cable.
Now, typically,
and again, with our trademark Y adapter.
Yep. This is great. I mean, typically the Gadget Professor, when I do my weekly show, I always wear a lapel microphone, a wireless lapel microphone. Here, for some whatever reason, we didn't do the tech, but we're using what I call a lollipop microphone. But these look very nice, because most of the time you don't see them. So it very innovative. Very innovative.
So we'll also have a boundary mic to go in, and the boundary mic would be good for, we call it the meeting mic. So when you're recording a college lecture or a deposition or something, you would use that. We'll have a gooseneck mic. So if you're doing Skype, you can use that. So every mic technology that is out there, we kind of offer.
Yeah, it's safe to say that, if you need a microphone, MXL is going to have what you need. I mean,
exactly.
As we flashed the website on, you saw I don't know, how many do you have? 100?
Yeah, probably at
Wow.
least. And
Okay,
we're
go ahead. I'm
adding.
sorry, I get excited.
This is not ours, but I always like to give my guys a plug, because these are one of our partners as the iFilmmaker group.
Right.
This is the iOgrapher.
The iOgrapher, okay.
It's iPad mini. You can also, they have an iPad full and then an iPhone. 3 shoes. So mic, light, battery.
Very elegant.
And you hold it. It's also got a quarter 20.
I might get a close-up of that.
Quarter 20
This
on
is
the bottom.
Your handy-dandy tray, if you will.
Yes, exactly. He's one of the gentlemen that we work with. And again, it's the community of people that we have gathered over the last 6 months that's really turning into something larger.
Right.
Than, and we're out there promoting the concept. You can use your phone. So here's my favorite line. Once upon a time, we had phones that had a camera. Now we got professional cameras that also make phone calls. Somewhere it switched.
Yes.
So that's kind of where we're at in the world. It's the web conferencing and the mobile media that's our initiative over the next 2-3 years, because that's where the growth is in the industry, and there's a lot of holes still in that product offering.
Let me slightly change the topic, but we're still
Please.
on the microphone topic. We have a lot of folks out there who are in the podcasting space, or want to do some voiceovers for schools, churches, synagogues, whatever the case may be. And what mic would you recommend for voiceover broadcast quality that's going to give you some rich bass and
the number one question is, where do you want to record to? Do you want to go directly into your computer and use USB, or do you want to have a live studio condenser and go into your studio?
Let's talk a live studio.
Okay, so live studio, we have the CR89, which won Best in NAB last year.
Really? The CR89, okay.
CR89, large capsule condenser. It should come up pretty soon. It's very handsome.
I get asked that question all the time.
As a matter of fact, there it is. There it is, CR89. So what's interesting is we worked with the folks from GoPro at NAB this year. Yes,
right.
You do. We worked with them at NAB, and we sent them that mic, and they're using that as their voiceover, from what I understand. They tweeted that out on our behalf for their voiceovers now. It's a great sounding mic. It was compared to a $3,000 Sony mic.
No kidding.
Yes, and by some of the publications.
You're a very modest gentleman, I'll tell you that, but bear with me a second here. I'm live. I want to go back to the laptop if we can. Thank you. People have to see the design, the coloration.
So that's our USB tempo line. 3 colors. We're gonna.
It's just exquisite.
We've been meaning to come out with pink. We just haven't gotten to it yet, because I think pink would be big. But thank you.
The line is, in my opinion, is absolutely elegant I mean, look at this mic. I mean,
So now-
it's almost art.
So pull up the CR77. That's our new dynamic mic.
Where are we going to find that? Up front?
If you just go to search, just hit in CR77 in search. We're showing this at our booth.
CR77?
Yeah, just CR77. It should come up, I'm hoping. Dum da dum 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 dum. A little slow.
Internet isn't the fastest here. Let's
No,
try it
it's
again.
not.
CR77?
Yeah. If not, just go to.
Here we go.
Oh, there you go. That's a live dynamic.
Look at the elegance of the styling of that.
Black chrome grill. It's
your mics. I just want to like put on a shelf and just look at them. I mean, they're art,
well, you know what I mean.
and it really adds to the whole ambiance and the professionalism of your product.
Well, thank you. And you know, that's the whole thing is you gotta like the way it looked. You know, a suit's a suit, a jacket's a jacket.
Absolutely.
We put style in it because that's what we like.
Yes.
And artists like style for sure. And we deliver great sound, but we also look good. We've kind of, what we've been doing is we've really been taking the gloves off the last couple of years and saying, okay, how can we shake things up?
Sure.
And that's what actually this article in Pro Sound Magazine is about, is how MXL is shaking up the audio world, saying, you know, pro audio for all these years was considered in the studio and live performance. But now pro audio is in the conference room, and pro audio's out in the field with your phone.
The reason you're successful is because you're thinking and you're innovating out of the box, and that's what it takes today to be successful. Surely there are, probably 30 or 40 other microphone manufacturers, and I can name them all. But what I like about your whole product line and Marshall Company just in general, the products are very high quality. I know we're talking about microphones. We'll have the people on, I think, that talk about the monitors. But
yeah,
I've had Marshall monitors and some very delicate clients where performance is critical. We've had those monitors probably up and running for 10 plus years now.
Wow.
We've never touched them. They have to dust them off because you don't touch them. That you put them on. Colors there,
they stay on.
The quality's there, and it's that same care that goes through the whole product line and comes down to your microphones. And
right,
it's not a big name, but that's why we invited MXL on to really tell the story behind this company. And I didn't even know that your president actually is a microphone aficionado. I did not know that.
If you ever want to do a long conversation,
we'll have to get him on the Gadget Professor show and Skype him in and just do a whole.
Oh my God, it's very entertaining too. I came from this consumer electronics world,
right?
And I got to Marshall, and I got there for my business acumen in the consumer world, because the other thing that's happening is the channels are all blurring. All right, a
lot of crossover, a lot of mixing.
Yes, people are going to the CE channels. Yes, CE channels to buy this. So that's where I came on. But Leonard has given me a wonderful education on mic technology, what people want, what works, what doesn't work, what plugs into what. I didn't know what a TRS was until last year versus a TRS.
Well, Perry, you've done a pretty good job of learning quickly and
OJT.
Yes. Now, I will say this, that what you bring to the table is a word called, I'm going to pull this one out, folks, a word in Yiddish that's actually called seichel. Do you know what do you know what that word means?
Sure.
Okay, well, it goes beyond smart, but it means, intuitive, intelligence,
common
sense, and that's what MXL brings to the board, and I can't say that for a lot of products, but that's what you bring to the mix, if you will.
That's a very flattering comment.
Well, I mean that sincerely.
Because
I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it.
My grandfather always told me, he says, you gotta have seichel. You gotta have seichel.
You do, and it's a nice word, and that's why I use it fondly when I talk about the your product line, the MXL product line.
Well, thank you very much. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention the other side of it.
Sure, please.
Because
please do.
This piece is important, but the first piece to fail in any chain is the thing that plugs in the cord.
Okay, let's
we
talk
do
about
Mogami cable.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm not a cable guy, so I can't talk about.
Tell the
in
folks a
detail,
little bit about
so
what that is, because a lot of people don't know.
Megami is Japanese-made cable, hand-wound. It's very supple, so when you wind it, it doesn't kink, it doesn't bend. It passes the signal through very clean. It is, as we call, the cable of the pros, and we've seen the Megami business just skyrocket.
And there's a reason for that, because Mike's not at the camera, but if we were to swing around, that's okay, Mike. There's cables everywhere. I mean, there are cables everywhere, and the thing that breaks the most, the things that causes the most concern in this business when you're hooking up things are the cables, because they're wound, they kink, they break, they don't make the connection, and you hear static, crackling, popping. Sometimes you get no signal, and they're used constantly. They're plugged in, they're plugged out, they're taped to the floor, and if you don't have a good cable, you're going to have problems. Well, someday you're going to have problems. So
I so many times in my career, I forget about that. And so many times in my career, I'll be working on a system and it's failing, and I'm plugging in and unplugging and plugging and unplugging. I'm going, I can't find the problem, and then I go, let me just replace the cable.
Yeah, bingo.
Boom. So now, because the easiest thing to do is replace the cable. If it's still not working, then you go to the hard part. Start at the cable. Yeah. Megami cable, we use the top quality connectors, Amphenol connectors.
It goes back to the our original statement. It's the quality, care, and the passion, literally the passion, that makes the MXL product what it is.
Well, thank you.
You don't just stop at the mic. You go to the other part that doesn't seem important, but it's the cable, because if it's junk, your mic can be great. If that cable's not making connection,
there's no sound.
Happy camper.
There's no sound. We're launching another line, a tertiary line, a secondary line of cable called Sound Runner by MXL.
Oh, really?
So we've got the Megami line, which is the top in the industry. We've always made cable of our own,
right?
And it's what we call a value line. It's a little less than Megami, but it's really, really good stuff.
Now, do you have resellers, or how does?
Oh yeah.
If someone wanted to purchase an MXL microphone or take a look
we're on Amazon, we're at Guitar Center,
okay.
We're in places like Pitbull and Unique Squared and all the big guys. You can go to Adorama.
So they're around. They're easy to get to.
We're basically everywhere. We have a really good network of.
Let me ask
resellers.
you a quick question. If someone wanted a mic, they're not sure what they want. They have an application. Is it possible to call someone within your company?
Yes, we do have
discuss that and say, these are the choices.
Yes, we have some people on the phones. Ruben Cuellar is our guy. He's very, very knowledgeable.
Okay.
Knows as much about microphones as anybody. You can drop us a note, sales@mxlmics.com.
Okay.
And just say, hey, I've got some questions. Give us your number. We will call you back that day.
Wow. The Gadget Professor, I'm a big guy on customer support and customer service, and they also, in addition to providing high-quality products, obviously they have the support. I got one quick question, and I'll let you go. I know I'm holding you up, and you're a busy guy here. Here's my question, and I don't know the answer, which is why I'm asking it. There are some companies now that actually let you, through your computer, manipulate the actually sound performance of the microphone by actually wave shaping. Do you have any of that?
No, we're not in the software business. We have partners that'll do that. I think.
I'm just curious.
I'm trying to think of who does that. We don't work with anybody currently, but there are lots of different products.
It's interesting technology. It's not for the faint of heart.
No, I mean, you have to be pretty knowledgeable about what you do. For instance,
and the reason I ask that is I have a friend of mine back in Phoenix who is a
Isotope. Isotope is the company that has that software.
Yeah, this gentleman is a world-renowned concert. He's into music and he's world-renowned. I can't mention his name, but he had asked me. He's so good with sound. He wanted us to find a company that he can actually create his own sound, if you will, through the microphone.
I think I'd look at start with Isotope. I think it's a good. Okay. They're very good software. We've talked to them about doing some programs together.
I knew you'd know.
The other night, I was just at my friend's house. We're jamming, and his amp died, so he went into the main system, So he plugged in through his iPhone, because with his iPhone, he's got an app that lets
Right,
him replicate
right.
any amp sound he wants,
yep.
any brand, tube, solid
Yep.
state, and so the new technology has just made it amazing.
It's getting better and
on
better
what
and
you can
easier to
do.
use and actually cheaper. So
Yeah,
I'm going to let you
exactly.
go. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed meeting
Thanks
with
for
you.
your time. It was a
and I
great
appreciate
conversation.
It was a
yeah.
lot of fun. It
Good
was a
luck
lot
with the
fun.
rest of our guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And maybe we'll swing by and chat with you more later on.
Yeah, I'll be at the booth.
Okay, Perry. Thank
Take
you.
care. Have a good shot.
Well, that was a lot of fun, and you probably learned more than you wanted to know about microphones. But what a great product line they have, and they're very nice people, as you can tell. They'll go overboard to help you out. So at this point, I don't know, Justin, can you run our Gadget Professor opening here, and we'll take a little pause. Are our mics cut there? We're still live.
He's got the toys. He's got showmanship. And he's got sex appeal. Ladies and gentlemen, from the great Southwest, here's the guru of gadgets, the dapper and dashing Don Bain, the Gadget Professor. Gadget Professor.
Well, we're back live, everyone, at NAB 2014, The Gadget Professor. You can watch my show at thegadgetprofessor.com, and all the interviews that we have at NAB will be posted and archived, and you can tune in to all the fun. And we've had some fun for sure. We had Callie Lewis here yesterday, and that was a blast. We had a lot of fun with her, and right now we are going to interview a gentleman called Bernie Keach, and he is with a company called Marshall Electronics, and we just had his counterpart here who handled the microphones, and now I believe we're going to talk about monitors.
That's right.
And I got to tell you, Bernie, I have used your monitors many times, and I have never had a single problem. The quality has been impeccable, and when you really want a high quality monitor, if you're doing video editing, or we do a lot of digital signage, and we use those to monitor actually jumbotrons in Toronto.
Right.
And as I mentioned to Perry, that we have a rack of your monitors, I think it's 3 up or 4 up, that's been in use for probably 10-12 years. Never touched them from the day we set them up. 24 hours a day they're on, 7 days a week.
Well, thanks for the good word. That's what we like to hear. That's the type of products we try to build. It's a 24/7 world in broadcasting, and we build products to fit that need.
So what's new? I know you have some things with you.
Well, we have a couple brand new products at NAB. I think our star this year is a new 7-inch monitor. It's actually a native format panel. That means it's 1920 by 1080. It's a pixel for pixel for your high definition on a 7-inch display.
We'll actually get a close-up of that with Mike. Will zoom in on that.
It's
There you go.
the colorimetry. It's an LED ISP display. The colorimetry almost looks like an OLED, and the resolution is stunning. To take a look at this and see your pixel for pixel resolution on a 7-inch screen is really something else. When it comes to content, focus, and those sort of things, it's just really shows you what your picture looks like. If you're out of focus, if you have a bad spot, if you're over highlighted, this will definitely point it out to you as the camera videographer.
That's an impressive piece. Give me the price point on that.
So this lists for $1,995. It's the only 7-inch native panel currently on the market, and probably will remain so for the time being.
And why is that?
Well, you know, we get first right of refusal with a lot of manufacturers on their panels, and we made a pretty nice deal to take this panel and spend time to engineer and come up with a working package, and so we're way ahead of our competitors when it comes to this.
Let's show the back of that, and you can talk a little bit about the input-out configuration and
So
also the mounting. I notice you've been very
Right.
clever, and why don't
Right.
you just show that?
So This follows our MD series. This specifically is the VLCD 71MD. And MD because it's modular. Now it comes built in with the HDMI loop through in the body, and you can get a 3G module for it. And you can also get the battery bracket of your choice. We have about 12 different brackets to work with the numerous batteries from all the manufacturers out there making cameras. So it's a really clean package when it comes to deciding, hey, I have XYZ camera, we probably have that battery plate to work with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, we also have mounting on all four sides.
I love this. These are the little things that you do that just make our lives so much easier and flexible. I mean, that just such, it's a simple thing, but it makes a difference.
You know, we listen to our clients, and we didn't just develop this in a vacuum. We heard what people want. We want 4 mounting sides. Guess what? We have 4 mounting sides. We want easy operability on the front end of the panel. We have a very easy to use menu with 4 function buttons, so you can program those functions that you use the most out there. It might be a peaking filter, could be the focus filter, could be the waveform monitor, the audio bar display. It's all right here at your hand while you're trying to pull focus and get the job done of making video.
Now let me ask you a question. I just noticed that you have 4 screws here. Obviously there's a reason for that.
That's right. So we have a replaceable front end on this
Mike,
display.
can you get a close-up of this? We want to show the screws here.
We have a plastic front end that's replaceable. So you out there on the field, when you scratch this, you don't scratch your LCD. You scratch the front end of this plastic, 4 screws, take it out, throw it away, and get a $19 replacement.
See, these are the little things, the little nuances that Marshall takes the time, the energy, and just has the patience to go through their designing process and come up with these tiny little nuances. And sometimes, you know, when you look at a Marshall product, you know, you get, sometimes you go, oh my God, that's expensive. It is and it isn't, because someone to have the foresight just to put that plate there,
Yep.
as you said, when you scratch it, not if you scratch it, and it's not you per se. You know, these are left at clients' places typically, or they're in a production environment with people packing them up and moving them, and that's why
Yep.
you have the various mounts on it. You are definitely going to scratch that by accident or not. You're going to do damage to it, and if they didn't take the time and the care for that, just that little feature alone,
Yep.
you're not going to be a happy camper paying that kind of money and damaging the front of your screen.
That's right. That's
So
right.
now you take 4 screws, you pop it off, and you buy a replacement panel. I mean, these are the little things that you pay for, and that's why, you know, the old story, you get what you pay for, and this is what makes Marshall a quality, the premium product, in my opinion, for all kinds of monitors, not just this.
Right, right. No, all our monitors in general. We build for quality. We build for broadcast use, 24/7 operation. We don't know when you're going to go out in the field and take a shot. Middle of the night, could be raining. Who knows when? But we're built for long-term usage.
And that's important. That's
Yep.
very important. What else you got that's new?
Well, we have some. I should have brought it. Some really nice little GoPro style cameras.
You should have brought it.
I know, HD SDI, and the beauty of this is you have complete control over your recording format. We actually have a video output spigot. You can record it with your Key Pro, with your Blackmagic, or your Western Digital. Who knows what you've got out there? But as opposed to being hamstrung with a little CF card,
Where would I see that on your website here?
LCDracks.com.
Okay, let's bring that up. LCD racks. Good thing I can spell. Let's take a look at this instead
.com.
of talking about it.
Yep. And it should
LCD monitors.
it should come up on the right here.
This one here.
Yep, that's it right there.
All right, if we can. Oh, we already brought it up. Thank you there very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as you can see in the hand of
Mike, you want to center the camera for me?
the person on the bottom of the page here. So
That's fine. You're fine.
Yeah. So this is a new 1/3 inch Panasonic CMOS chip.
Really?
It's a Moore's generation
Look at
chip.
the size of that.
It's a Moore's generation chip. So I have a dynamic range that you've not ever seen in a 1/3 inch CMOS chip in the past.
Really?
It is absolutely phenomenal. Come by and take a look at this thing. The colorimetry, once again, and
Really?
the dynamic range is just it's incredible to see. We also have a whole line of prime lenses for this. It ships with a 3.5 millimeter. We have a 2.5 millimeter, a 5 millimeter, and so we have these incredible primes.
Check that breakout cable.
And as a matter of fact, we are currently working on a project that we're going to put these cameras into napkin holders in restaurants, and we may serve a cockroach in a meal occasionally to see what happens. It's possibly,
God.
yeah, it's a pilot for a new reality show.
That's awesome.
It really is cool. It really
When's
is
that
cool.
coming up?
Well, I can't. I've disclosed enough. Okay.
We try to extract the information. I try so hard.
This is just
Try
an
to catch them
example.
off guard, sweeten them up, and then
This is just an example you can do with this camera. We also have quite a few news crews using this for the dashboard cam.
and the price point on it is quite reasonable.
And it's the picture quality and the resolution through the
$4.99.
lenses.
Wow.
Yeah,
now you have this at
$4.99.
the show, so if I were to take a hike back there, because it's a hike from here to there.
It's a hike from here to there. We have a number of these operating. We're using these currently for our teleconference streaming out of our booth here at NAB. Go to our website. Take a look at the streaming we're doing.
Wow. Well, I'm definitely going to come back and check this out because I have not seen this, and it looks really cool. So
It is.
I thank you so much for stopping by and
My
visiting
pleasure.
with the Gadget Professor. And what can I say? Just, Marshall Electronics. Check them out. Go to their website, and also this LCDracks.com. You can take a look at this CV500MB camera, and you can see, the palm. You're holding it in the palm of your hand there. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to check that out.
Thank you very much, Professor. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine. Have a great show.
All right.
And I'll swing by later and check this out because it's really cool.
Very
We
good.
may even bring you back on the Gadget Professor show to
I'd
talk
love to do
about
that
this.
later. I'll come back with that later.
Well, actually,
Absolutely.
we'll Skype you in.
Okay.
We'll do our weekly show on Thursday nights. We can pre-record it or whatever, and we'll
Perfect.
make arrangements to do that because I think the Gadget Professor fans would love to see this.
I think they would, absolutely.
That's cool.
Right on.
Okay.
All right,
thank
thanks
you
a
so
lot.
much. Have
All
a
right.
good show.
Okay, you
Thank
too.
you.
Bye now.
Thank you. Well, that's a lot of fun, and you just never know what you're going to see on the Gadget Professor show, and I can't believe that it's 10:30 here. And folks, I got to tell you, to be honest with you, the show has quieted down a lot. I am actually positioned in the middle of the exhibitor registration. Obviously, all the exhibitors are registered now, but behind me is the actual attendees registration. I can't see it because I got the wall behind me, but I'm looking out the doors and looks like there's a little lull. But again, everybody, this place is enormous, so you can be literally 2 miles of walking just to get to the next hall. I have a couple stats here that people may find interesting about NAB. Now, this is last year's statistical analysis, but there were 93,602 total attendees at the NAB show. I have no idea what it is this year. And there were 1,581 exhibitors at the show last year, so that's 1,581 exhibits that you can go to. And after a while, after about 30 minutes walking the show floor, you're really overwhelmed. And even if you know where a booth is, by the time you get there, you could be tired just from walking, and also the visual display of all the technology almost makes you dizzy. And it's very exciting to see this. Now, to give you an example of how big this is, get this, the net square footage that NAB covers is 878,500 square feet of exhibit space. So I don't know how many football fields that is, but you walk an average of 5 miles a day if you're on the press like I am here at NAB, and you're tired at the end of the day, believe me. Now, buyers, people who come here who are actually buyers would come here to see what's new, to maybe work some type of a distributorship out. There's 61,351 buyers who attended last year, and those are people who are specifically looking for product, which is why you have 15,000 plus exhibitors here, because you're hoping to hook up. The actual number of international people from outside the United States, is 25,211, and it says here it's from 156 countries around the world. And press, people like myself, there's 1,748 attendees last year. So you can walk around here and I don't think you can go 3 minutes without seeing a camera crew doing an interview at someone's booth, again, to give them the publicity. Also get the coverage out there so you can find out, what's going on. Now, outside the booth here, you can get probably 40 or 50 different major magazines for free. They're in Big Ben's here. No pun on the Big Ben thing, but you can actually pick up these magazines, Video Maker, anything that has to do with video. The magazines are out there, but they actually publish a book, and it is, remember telephone books? But it's about 2 inches thick, and that has the listing of every company that is at NAB, in addition their location and their booth number. So if you were trying to find a specific area, it's broken down by categories and also by company names. So you would have to get this book and thumb through it and find out where it is that you're going. And again, that could take you a half hour to 45 minutes to get there. So there's a lot of walking and a lot of interesting things. So now we're getting ready for our next guest, who actually is here. And hello, Aaron is here from NMX Computing, Mr. Aaron Green, and
Sherman.
I'm sorry, Aaron Sherman. I know Alan Green.
I'm easily confused with celebrities, apparently.
Yes. Mr. Sherman is here, and he is from NMX Computing, and I don't even know how to begin to introduce this fellow. Very modest, humble guy.
Thank you.
Outrageously intelligent and knowledgeable about everything that's in a PC, a server. He knows things I never heard of, and again, he's very modest about it. But he's one of the more knowledgeable gentlemen that I've come across in the last few years. And we had Bob Labadini on yesterday, who was the owner of NMX Computing. We talked to him, but Aaron, your list of celebrity companies
Sure.
is jaw-dropping, and I know you got to extract it from Aaron because, as I said, he's a very modest, humble gentleman, and you can drop some names on us. And these are the companies now. You get an inside look now at the manufacturer. So you may see a product that you're using, and I'll just drop a couple names. So LiveStar, StreamStar. You won't see the ESPN products because they're not available for the consumer. You guys actually make proprietary functional equipment that ESPN needs to do their job. But these are the guys who manufacture and also design both the ergonomics, the electronics, the specifications. I can go on and on and on with the detail, and you just don't realize what goes in to the manufacturing process. And these gentlemen are the ones that are responsible, quite frankly, in my opinion, for the reliability and also the success or failure of a product, because if it's not designed right, if the power requirements aren't met, you're going to have issues. And when you're selling a national brand, the last thing you want is problems with the circuitry, because it could ruin you overnight because the word spreads quick. So
That's true.
These gentlemen really take their job serious, which we would expect them to do, but they go beyond that. Aaron is passionate about what he does. So I've blabbed on enough. I'm sorry, but I had to be honest about it.
Sure. I
Aaron,
really appreciate that, Don.
Yours, the Gadget Professor, is going to be quiet.
Okay, sure. For a minute, right? You can jump in whenever.
Okay,
so yeah, NMX Computing, we've been around for more than 10 years. We're based out of Nashua, New Hampshire, and like Don said, we're sort of more of a behind-the-scenes technology company. Typically won't see a NMX Computing booth or a big sign at NAB, but you will see our products. We're around, as Don mentioned, live stream, StreamStar, VMIX. This year, particularly for streaming, has been very big for us, and we partner with a lot of the major brands and vendors that are very well known around NAB, such as Matrox, AJA, AMD.
Go slow.
Yeah.
Matrox,
AJA, Blackmagic. I mean, we integrate
AMD.
a lot of technology. AMD, Intel, and we're pretty close partners with a lot of these companies. Yeah.
Sure.
So our job is to really take the best of everything that's out there in technology and figure out how to apply it to solve problems. And I think we do that very well, particularly in the broadcast and media market. We like to stay ahead of the curve as far as technology, and that enables our customers, who are more or less selling our solutions with something else, let's say software for streaming, graphics. There is VizRT, for example, very well known in the live broadcast graphics space, among other areas. And we enable them to come to market quickly with products. We have great reliability, great support, and the branding and the customization we do for them, creating something unique, helping them differentiate from their competitors, and that's something we take a lot of pride in.
So you're also, if I may, you're innovators too. You actually look at the markets and see if there's anything that's lacking or missing in the market. You
Sure.
do the research, and then you actually can develop a product, white label it, or put your own name on it, whatever the case may be. But
Yep.
you actually know so much about the various industries that are out there that you can do this, the analyzation, and say, you know what, there's a 4K market, there's a 6K market, there's no
Sure.
editing system, there's no whatever the case may be,
Right.
and actually go ahead and create that box, if
Yeah.
you will, with the reliability factors built in, and go to market with it.
Yeah, and I think one thing we've done very well over the last few years, especially, our name's really been in portability in very small systems. So I think our kind of flagship claim to fame is like the kind of see them around the show floor, these lunchbox briefcase systems with a screen on it and the handle. That's kind of what we become known for. That's especially helpful for live production.
You may not remember this. Maybe some of the older folks watching this may remember this, but the first, it was called the box lunch computer.
Yeah, lunchbox. Yep.
Yeah, lunchbox, and I think it was a compact, if I'm not
Compact.
mistaken.
Yeah. Yep. They were one of the big ones.
I had one of those, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And it was heavy, and back then I don't even think it was a Celeron, but.
It's probably like a 386 processor or something. Yeah.
And that form factor is a very handy design, and it's certainly evolved today to be something quite unique. And when we saw was it the HD51, Mike? The the 512, 510,
the 510 from live stream.
510,
Yeah.
Actually, the
Yeah.
510. I saw that yesterday close up, and boy, the sleekness of that, the compactness of it, the ability to just pop it in a case, in a bag,
Clip it together and go.
and go, and then the top flipped open, and you had some really cool, nice, like a car paint on it, almost a shiny black, look.
And the glowing lights. Yeah. That's
the
awesome.
lights.
I love that product.
It was a sexy product.
Yeah.
And that's what sells it. It's not only the guts today inside the machine. It's the ergonomics of it. It's the look. It's the appeal of the product to the eye that actually catches you, and then you peel back what's underneath the hood, and of course you find that, wow, it's made by Next Computing. And also, I'm proud of the fact that you guys make the stuff in the USA. I mean, let's face it. The economy's struggling, and certainly other countries do a great job, and a lot of the electronics is outsourced there.
Yeah.
There's very few companies left in the United States like yours.
Yeah, very few PC builders, computer. Yeah, I mean, there's integrators, and I guess where we kind of separate ourselves is, there's a lot of companies, and it's, a lot of hobbyists like myself, it can take off the shelf stuff and buy it online and throw it together. But
a hobbyist.
In my spare time. But I think what we do differently is, we find ways to change the form factor, make it unique, do something a little bit different than what you can just go into Fry's and buy and put together. And obviously a company like a live stream or ESPN, that's not going to do it for them.
So you actually will take a company that comes in that has a design in mind and has a problem or a question or wants to know what the best way to put this box together is. So they may have a design, and I'm just asking, they may have a design electronically in mind, or is it more like they would come in with the software developed and say...
It's really been kind of everything. Example, a customer like Livestream, they had software. We happen to have a hardware that ran it very well. So, the first generation of product, the HD500, I think you're familiar with, is more or less our standard box, which we had called the Radius. Put their software on it, we branded it for them, and it really took off. Next phase was, okay, how are they going to where are they going to go for the next direction of their product? And we helped them achieve that as well. They had some design ideas. It was very collaborative, and that's what we like to do for our it's kind of an ideal customer. It's collaborative, and we try to take their ideas and improve on it and deliver it into an actual working product in the end that they can go out and they can generate revenue, they can solve problems with that product.
Now, I'm pulling up your website, so if
Sure.
people wanted more information.
Yeah, it's just
go to
www.nextcomputing.com, and you can
small splattering of some of the.
you can
things
kind of
that-
poke around, and we've got a lot of information, a lot of product information, flash demos and that stuff. It's interactive. Yeah,
Now, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, can they email you?
absolutely. Yeah, it's either sales at Next Computing.
So they can call you too.
They can call us 603. We're in New Hampshire. 603-886-3874. Yeah.
All right.
Sales at
Now, one last
nextcomputing.com.
question, and I'll let you go.
Yeah.
How was the winter there?
It was awful.
Awful.
Awful, and you were such a lucky bastard for getting out of there. So,
I got one more question.
yeah.
All right, and I'm sorry to hold you up. I know you're a busy guy. Throughout all our interviews, there has been one common thread, one item, one topic that's just been literally every single person that's been here, and I've interviewed, I think, 30 people so far, maybe more, maybe 40, I haven't counted, is 4K.
What's that?
Yeah, what's that?
Sorry.
You tell me.
Why don't you tell me about that?
What do you think about 4K? Do you see any development? Is Next Computing thinking about anything? And I know
Yep.
I'm hitting you off guard with this
Okay.
question, but it's.
I've been thinking about
if
it.
anybody would know, it's a company of your stature.
Sure. Well, part of our role, not only to, we're going out and we're talking to our customers, we're looking for new customers.
Right.
We're also here to understand more about what's going on in the market. You have to stay up on it to.
Sure.
If we're behind the times and we're not paying attention to this stuff, then we're not serving our customers. Yeah, we are looking at 4K in a variety of ways. It's actually starting to take off a bit more in the streaming side. You interviewed Martin at VMIX earlier,
Yes.
and he has a
I
4K
was
product.
shocked.
It's incredible.
When I brought up their website and saw a 4K system.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, it's really, really
Are you
nice.
kidding me?
And then ourselves, we'd like to go, we've done very well in broadcast, streaming.
Right.
I think the next area for us would be post-production. There's some amazing stuff coming out, not only on the front end, on the production side with the new camera, the new Blackmagic Ursa,
They're all
the
over
new
the place.
AJA camera,
JVC just said
JVC,
several of them, right?
4A. Obviously, it's the talk of this show, as
And
was
the price
3D a
points
couple
are
years
starting to
ago.
come down on those 4K cameras. The portability's much easier than it was. The battery life is much better.
Yep.
And I think what I'm starting to see come together is, there's different applications for 4K, but when you're talking about the quality, high quality, let's say movie making, not film, but the movie business, okay, the animation business, they're going to move to 4K because the prices of everything is starting to come down.
Well, 4K will be at an HD price before you know it.
So
just
now,
as SD,
it seems like
the HD.
The editing issue hasn't been attacked yet or approached from what I could see. And what I'm talking about, folks, is the 4K gives you such a wide screen, such high resolution, that what happens is you would be videoing an entire scene, and the 4K is so good that you now have the ability through editing software to actually go in and zoom in on just Aaron, let's say, and blow him up full frame.
Yeah,
And
HD.
It's
Yep.
HD. Or go on a smaller scale and take a flower if you want to do that. But you literally can pick from the whole giant scene, from that whole scene, whatever part or parts you want. And that literally changes. It's a paradigm shift in the way people are editing, because now, it's one scene. Very rarely you don't have that resolution, the ability to go in and pick up that one person, that one, that pen in the pocket. If you can, but when you blow it up, there's no resolution.
Well, the interesting thing is, 4K will just become standard, even though I think, for the average consumer, 4K at the home or the delivery is
Two
a little
different
long
markets,
ways
though,
off, but 4K on the front end for production, it just
That's
provides so much leeway in terms of resizing, as far as coloration, just the creative, the creative leeway that you can get shooting in 4K. So it's really become mandatory, even though deliverables are still in HD for television. projection's still 2K. That's probably going to be like that for a while.
Right.
But the ability to work with 4K, particularly natively, uncompressed, these cameras are shooting RAW. There's a ton of data coming off those cameras. Obviously, there's formats you can use to shrink that down, but ideally, being able to work with that natively is very important. It gives you the flexibility, all the flexibility throughout the whole workflow and the pipeline. I think where we see ourselves fitting, our next thing would be to address the post-production side of the workflow, being able to handle 4K in real time for editing, for coloring, visual effects.
Wow.
And there's some amazing stuff coming out for that as well that we're partnering with companies like AMD that have GPU. I mean, it's really
we saw that.
GPUs are amazing.
Monday.
That's going to be really
They brought
important.
in that,
yeah.
Oh my God. That
Yeah, the
was really
W9100,
Yeah, that
so-
was really impressive.
Yeah, well, there'll be
Well, that's great.
definitely some new stuff coming out from Next Computing. Go to our website, follow us on Facebook, Twitter. It's at Next Computing on Twitter.
If you have any questions, you can
Facebook.com/Next
call
Computing.
Alan Sherman directly,
It's all
because
on the
He's a
website.
nice guy. Alan will take your phone call.
Yeah.
Alan.
Am I Al Green now?
I keep thinking of him. I don't know why I have it in there. Anyway, if you want to call Aaron Sherman and wish him a warm summer, you can do that. He'll take that.
I've heard it's going to be 60 degrees in New Hampshire, and that's nice for us. Yeah.
Well, Aaron,
I'm looking
thank
forward
you.
to that.
I know I took a lot of your time today.
No, it was
Thank
wonderful.
You so much for
Thank you,
coming
Don.
in, and I'm sure I'll
Really
talk to you
appreciate it.
later.
Absolutely.
And, have a great show, and keep me tuned into what you're doing with the 4K stuff. It's fascinating. It's interesting, and it's always cool when you talk to someone from Next Computing, because it doesn't exist right now. But if there's a way or a need,
We'll come up with it. Yeah.
Aaron's going to find it.
Awesome. Thanks,
you.
Don.
Good luck. Good
Thanks.
seeing you.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
too.
Fascinating company. There's not many left in the United States, unfortunately, and these guys do everything, right down to the paint shop. I mean, they have a spray painter that will put powder in a machine, and you get that glossy finish, any color you want. They deal with the LED lights that are in the front panel, the back panel. They make the box sellable from the outside and the inside, and we didn't even talk about the licensing that Aaron deals with, which is a whole industry unto itself, because these products have to be FCC approved. They have to pass all kinds of ISO testing before they can sell it to the consumer, and the legalities of that alone are very intriguing and interesting. So Aaron's a pretty sharp guy, and you know what? You can pick up the phone and call him at Next Computing, Aaron Sherman, and he'll answer the phone and talk to you. So if you have a product out there or thinking about one and need a manufacturer, Aaron Sherman's a pretty cool guy to know. So I see our next interview is here. No breaks here on the Gadget Professor Show. We keep going, and our next gentleman is
Tom
Curran.
Yes.
And Tom is from a company called Paladin. And Tom, I know that you're a PhD, and you're on the Gadget Professor Show, so we're going to have a lot of
Professor to professor. I like that.
That's right. A lot of things in common. I used to be a college professor for about 12, 15 years back in the Boston area, which I didn't know that you were from.
I am from Boston. That's right. Originally, yes. I'm from the North Shore.
The North Shore.
Yes, that's right.
That's probably why we get along.
That's right.
Well, I was from Boston, and as I said, I taught at Boston State for about 12 years. I used to teach at Emerson College, and I did a stint at Boston University. I taught graduate school there for about 2.5 years or so. So I left that to go on to other things, and I have fond memories, and I do go back to the Boston area when I can for the summer months, because quite frankly, it's too hot for me in Arizona.
Yeah, well, you trade heat for humidity when you go to Boston, though. It's pretty humid there. But you make the trade, right? That versus an oven.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Yes. Now, you have a box here, which I actually saw yesterday, and we met, I guess, accidentally, coincidentally, or
providentially,
by fate.
There it is.
I don't know what it was, and I was actually intrigued, and I actually had kept the last interview spot open from day one for a situation where someone may have a new product that I saw on the showroom floor and wanted to bring them in, or someone that met or came in wanted an interview. So I kept the last spot open, and I don't give it away lightly, believe me. And I met Tom yesterday, and he brought something in that was actually very intriguing to me. So here we are. So The floor is yours.
Thank you, Don. So my background is producing live events. Yeah, how do you capture that content? What do you do cool things with it? And then how do you get it to the internet or a live room?
Right.
And so that's what we've created. We've created the smallest all-in-one live streaming studio that exists. It's called the Paladin, and you're able to ingest the highest quality cameras, HD SDI inputs, 4 in, 4 out, and a reference.
Right. Mike, can we get a close-up of this? We'll actually show you what the SDI looks like and just the box configuration.
Sure,
itself.
absolutely. So you can see the HDSDI native inputs here, but we also have active inputs on the other side. So the USB 3 and the FireWire, as well as Ethernet and over IP. We can take in IP cameras. So we have the Wi-Fi antennas right here. And so it enables you to take in multiple different format cameras. You ingest them all.
Right.
And once the cameras are ingested, well, then you want to be able to do your switching. So this
Right.
functions as your switcher.
Okay.
And so we use third-party software, whether it's Wirecast, made by Telestream, or Livestream Studio. We're partners with both of them, and so we can put those on the box. But let's say you like VMIX or VidBlaster or a Flash Media Live encoder for that matter. Any Windows-based operating system.
Is this Linux or this is total Windows?
It's a Windows. It's a
Okay.
Windows box.
Okay.
And so you're able to put on the flavor of live production and encoding software you like. So, but our goal is to solve those problems and provide the all-in-one solution. So, as you know, these programs like Wirecast, very, very good when it comes to live production capabilities
Right.
and encoding, and then you can stream it out to the internet. So that's the first part of us, is innovating around the size and capability of a box.
All right, let's just clarify for our audience specifically what we have here. You are making a power box, small form factor, and when you purchase this, you are essentially purchasing the box. There is no software on this that you could use per se.
Yeah, we have free versions of Wirecast and of Livestream.
Okay, so you now have the ability after you purchase the box or before you purchase the box to select what software
That's right.
it is that you want to use. So that's an important factor. Because you've engineered the box to do its functionality, and now it's your choice. You have the option of choosing what software it is that you want.
That's right. And just to clarify, Don, this is not an off-the-shelf case. This is actually our own custom-designed case, and it is patented. We have a patented design for how the components are in there. So even if someone opened the box up and said, let me see if I can find those components, they're not going to be able to find them. We have custom components.
Trust me, I wouldn't be trying to replicate this. There's no way, but go ahead.
Anybody who did, they would melt the box. And so what we've done is we've used our own capabilities on the software side combined with our hardware design capabilities to innovate and come up with the smallest box. And it has a very powerful processor. It's an Ivy Bridge i7 3770S, and it's the full desktop version. You're not going to find that kind of power in any box at this size.
Okay, with that engine in there, what about heat?
So what we do is we underclock, and that is allowing we undervolt, and by doing that we're able to reduce the heat that would happen inside the box. So we have the heat tolerances there. We have a couple of fans mounted in a very distinct way to be able to vent the heat.
So you've taken into account and measured and done all the calculations.
That's
that
right.
This maintains the proper temperature. Now,
Yes.
I'm going to. I asked some tough questions here, and I don't mean to be picky, but I noticed you have vents everywhere, and I understand that's to get the airflow in there, which I have no issues with. I don't see a rack mount, which is neither here nor there, but what happens if someone puts something on top of this? Because if there's a flat surface in the Gadget Professor's office, there's something on top of it.
We got to train those folks. So really, it's a matter of customer training. So we just use a plate, if you want to use a rack plate, and then you just sit it right on it. It's very simple.
Okay.
And so that's the easy way to rack mount the
Again,
box itself.
The reason you want to keep the airflow is because of the heat that's generated, and these things are, there's a lot of science behind them. So, with any kind of box that does, serves this function, heat's a killer. So you got to let the air in, and again, you don't want to put something or put it in a situation where the air is not flowing through it.
That's right, absolutely. And we've done all of that testing over the course of 4 years to come down to a box that is this size and has this power.
Okay, let's move on. I know you have a lot of other...
Absolutely. So we're out to solve people's problems when they're trying to do live. And so our value proposition is that this box, the Paladin, is supremely capable, right? You're going to get that high quality capability of getting in HD sources.
Price point,
and it's supremely affordable. It's a $5,000 box.
Okay.
So if you're looking for an all-in-one studio, you don't have to get a switcher plus a laptop for live production or an encoder or something to record. All in one. There it is for $5,000.
Now, another question. what happens if I have an HDMI camera or 2 or 3 HDMI cameras, and I don't have enough money to afford one of those beautiful TriCasters or a big live stream box or whatever the case, and but I want to use my HDMI cameras because I just can't afford SDI cameras now. There is a way.
Absolutely. Simple converters, $100 converters. We in fact show that. We're showing that here in our booth at NAB. We've got a couple of nice DSLR cameras with the HDMI out. You get the full frame sensors. And we go out and we just simply put the HDMI out into one of the converters and we put it right on our tripod.
Now, do you have your own boxes for the converters? Or you use someone
No,
else?
we don't. We source those out, and so
Okay.
we make recommendations. Some people
Okay.
like the AJA, some people like the Black Magic. There's lots
Right,
of options
okay.
out there, and so we design the solutions for them.
Okay, so you can take those HDMI cameras that are sitting around and bring them into this type of a box,
Absolutely.
which is great.
And what we've found is that the box is good for in-studio locations like
Right.
yours, Don.
Right.
So you have the short runs for HDMI. But as you know, trying to do a long run
Yeah,
out in
you
the setting, you
can't,
can't do it HDMI. So
correct.
you want the SDI,
Right.
HDSDI, to be able to do the long
Yeah,
runs.
let's tell people the difference between an HDMI run. We're talking about the cable and an SDI run.
Yes. So the HDMI is a way. It's a protocol. It's a method of communicating video out from the camera, and you'll want to be able to convert that because there's a degradation once you get beyond 25, 30 feet. Unless you get a very, very high quality
that.
cable. That's right. Unless you want to get a very high quality cable, then you're talking about trying to get some kind of power source to repeat it down the line.
you don't want to do
Very
that.
complicated. And instead, you can just do a short run cable out from your box, put it into a converter. SDI. It's a more traditional broadcast protocol for communicating video over long
And
distances.
the runs,
Several hundred feet. Yeah. You really. It's gonna manage all your situations.
and the reason I'm pointing that out is because a lot of people, who are watching this aren't familiar with what's with SDI, what's with the cable, why? Well, there's the
That's
reason.
right. But beyond that, let's say for instance you wanna even make a longer run. Well, that's where we recommend other solutions. So Teradek, for instance, is a marketing partner
Sure.
of ours, and so we'll take the Bolt or the Cube, and we can put that on a camera and line of sight for the Bolt, and you can get a wireless run, and we've got the Wi-Fi connectivity. So we can bring in that as a source, but we also innovate on the software side. And so, for
Wait,
instance,
I got one more question
Oh, please.
for you. One more question. What about IP? What about cameras that are on IP or the ability to bring in an IP source or bring in my laptop?
Absolutely. You can do both of those things. In fact, we do that ourselves.
Okay.
So, for instance, on this box, we're able to bring in cameras over IP. We're able to bring in external sources. So we routinely bring in Skype callers, WebEx callers, FaceTime callers. All of those folks we can ingest and bring into our broadcast.
These are the types of things that differentiate the Paladin box from pretty much anything else that it's out there. It's that functionality, which is why I'm forcing you to give me some details about.
No, I love it.
About all the input capabilities of it because it's important and it adds to the functionality of it at that price point.
Yeah.
It's very engaging, if you will.
Well, and so one of the things, so our vision is this: things are getting smaller and things are becoming wireless. So you want to get a more and more mobile solution out there. So right now, this box, we run 4 cameras and we do the live production and we do the encoding for stream, 45 watts of power. I don't know if you heard that. That laptop is running on more watts of power
Yes.
than this box when it's encoding and streaming 4 cameras. So we have an existing battery solution for it where you can take it out to the field and you don't even need any external power. A battery solution.
So is there a DIN plug? How do you get that battery into here?
So we have our own little power source here. It goes out to a power brick, and then
Close up of that, we can show
and
where
then
that
we
goes
hook it in through an inverter if you
Right.
need to AC inverter if you're going to get
Why
to
don't you
another
point
power
that
source.
out?
Right here in the middle. Sorry. Yeah, right here.
Now that's something I can tell you right off the bat. You can't do that with the TriCaster. You can't do that with the Livestream or a StreamStar box. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Well, and that's it. So we're trying to use what we're good at. We're good at innovating on the hardware design, and so we keep the power box, the power that goes to the box to drive it very low,
Right.
so that we can get an increasingly mobile
It's pretty
setup.
impressive.
So beyond that, you want to be able to. What about the production, right? We're trying to create solutions for teams that are trying to do cool things, but maybe they don't have the budget to bring 3, 4, 5 guys to a show.
Right.
So let's say a 2-man team is going to do a multi-camera setup. Great. You bring your box, you hook in multiple cameras, maybe a wireless camera across the other side, some establishing shot. You can also do point of view cameras. So we have an iPhone app that allows you to bring in your iPhone as a video source. You can bring in multiple iPhones. You can plant them anywhere. You can put them on a guest in the crowd. You can bring them right into your live production
Wirelessly.
wirelessly.
Doesn't get any more innovative or creative than that. That's,
Well, unless you want to do it over the internet. 4G. You can bring in the guest also over 4G.
Really?
Yes, you can.
Wow.
So it's an IP solution we have.
So if I don't have an iPhone, I can use my Droid?
You can use your Droid. All you have to do is you can make a Skype call on your Droid. We have a website, and what happens is you go to that website, you click on I have a Skype app, and it gives you a number to call on Skype, and we bring it in right live to the production.
Really?
I'll show it to you. You come to our booth, and we'll show you that.
Now, I'm just curious. Do you see any difference in quality between the iPhone and an S3 or S4 or 5, whatever phone?
So we haven't done enough testing because it
Okay.
often is dependent on
Just
the
curious.
4G network that's available, right?
It always does.
It always does, right? So we've found that FaceTime, for instance, because they stream a little bit differently.
Well,
it's pretty cool, but it's close
I
up.
prefer FaceTime over Skype all day long.
Yes. And it's more limited, but we try to strip away some of those limits because you can also go if you have an iPhone,
Right.
you go to that same website and click I have FaceTime.
Right.
You click on that, it gives you the address to call. You call that address,
That's
and
great.
you bring you into the production. But what about the producer? That's great that you have wireless sources coming in. Well, we've also come up with the ability to have.
Should we put that straight on so the camera
Yes.
can see that?
So we're going to be able to show the iPad control of your live production. So right now we see here.
Yeah, put that straight because
Okay, so right here we see this. It's looking for a Paladin. It's looking for something to show up, but there's no Paladins. So I'm going to show you in demo mode. When you click on the demo mode, it's going to show you a multi-camera production. And here I'm going to be switching between the cameras, and I'm going to be able to do all the switching. I can bring in whatever shot I've created on the video. All of that can be controlled.
How convenient.
How convenient is
How
right.
convenient.
So can you imagine now, if you have two people at your production, they can't share a keyboard, screen, and mouse. You can take the switching function, you put it in one person's hands, they can walk around among the cameras, they can do the production, the other person sits there, creates the new shot, goes to the website, gets the next media asset they need, creates the new title, the transition, and you have a two-person
Like a
production team.
portable switcher inside
There it
your
is.
iPad. Doesn't
Well,
get
you-
any easier than that.
Well, you already see solutions like that for audio mixers with the sliders, right?
Sure.
Well, we've done it now on the live production side with video, and we do
Now,
it through our own patented technology.
Does that app come with this? Is that a purchase app?
So the app is free. We put software in the box that communicates with it, and that's $99.
Okay, so that's an add-on.
That's an add-on, $99 for that.
Great. We have about 3 minutes left.
Yes.
Anything else that we didn't cover that we want to cover?
So we are solution guys. So not only do we have a box, we also have a fly pack. We know that guys want to be able to.
If you want to see the fly pack, actually I can bring it up right now on my laptop and we can take a look at the fly pack because I have that all ready to go.
So you actually on our homepage, yourpaladin.com, but if you want to get to the fly pack, go up to the top and click on shop, and we'll show a fly pack
We
version
are going to do that.
on buy now. And what's going to pop up there is your fly pack down on the second row to the right. So there's
here?
the fly pack right there.
Okay.
So what you see is the box in a little carry case. Where you open it up, there's your screen internally, and then you have your Bluetooth mouse.
Plus the fact, not only is it portable, you can operate this on battery.
You can operate it on battery.
That's true portability.
That's right. Yeah, that's that's our goal. So we have the fly pack there, and then we're even showing here, Don, you got to come by and see this. We actually have an entire studio in an overhead bin capable case.
Really?
So you open it up, and you not only have your box, your keyboard, screen, and mouse, you have your cameras, cords, cables, connectors, and tripods.
Wow.
All in one case. You close
Now,
it
what
up.
kind of cameras are you providing?
So-
Obviously, you don't make the cameras.
No, we don't make the cameras. So the kit that we're showing up there is Canavixia based.
Okay.
So you have a Canon, but we can fit other cameras in as well.
Sure.
And we're still speccing all that out. So we're showing the proof of concept, and later this summer we're going to be saying, here are the cameras it fits, here are the tripods it fits, here are the types of converters you need if you
So
have this
it's
kit
an
or that
entire
kit.
studio in a bag.
A whole multi-camera studio in one case.
Do you have a price point on that yet?
Yeah, about $7,500
Wow.
for an entire studio.
Wow. That's wow.
Done.
And this is a powerful box. Trust me. It really is.
Yeah.
I got two more questions, and I'm going to let you go.
Yes, please.
Why pink?
Why pink? Like it, don't like it, what will you not do? You will not forget it. So
Good
we
point.
want to make, we are,
I actually like it.
yeah, well, that's the whole point, is that the box isn't black, it's not silver, it's not some kind of gray.
Yeah.
It
It's
stands
got its
out.
own identity, which
That's
is a
right.
smart move.
It's about creating a brand.
Right. It's again, folks. It goes back to the ergonomics and that sexiness and the eye appeal. Now, my last question is: you are out of Boston.
We live in Seattle, so we're
Okay.
based in Seattle.
You're based in Seattle. If someone wanted to purchase this, where would they go? They go to the website?
Yourpaladin.com. You can purchase them now.
Yourpaladin.com.
Yep. Yeah, we're having a great show. Lots and lots of folks signing up, and so we're going to have maybe a little back order time,
Great.
that's a great problem to have.
Sure is.
Yeah, so you can go to yourpaladin.com, and we do live demos via web conference. So we will show you live in real time what we can do for you and show the output.
So they would just call and set up that
Call and set up a demo.
communication.
We'd love
Okay.
to be able to show you.
All right, Tom, thank you so much
Absolutely
for
done.
visiting the Gadget Professor. I thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll be talking.
Love it.
Great. Well, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for the Gadget Professor at NAB 2014. Once again, I thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the Gadget Professor, we'd love to have you watch our show at thegadgetprofessor.com. We are part of Geek News Central, and usually I do this show with my associate Todd Cochran, who actually couldn't be here, and I miss Todd terribly. He's a very good friend and a very good associate to have, and I feel almost naked without having Todd next to me. And of course, Todd is a well-known podcaster, and Todd's an innovator in this space for sure. And if you haven't checked out Geek News Central and Todd Cochran, you definitely want to do that. Again, I'd love you to check out my show, which is thegadgetprofessor.com. I would urge you to sign up for the free newsletter, and that's halfway down. And again, you can watch us on every surface that's out there, any type of device, Apple, iPod, YouTube. We're pretty much everywhere. You can also watch it, of course, on your browser. Most people seem to watch it either on iTunes, because we're on iTunes, or we even have our own Roku channel. Also, you can follow me on Facebook, and if you go to my Facebook page, which is The Gadget Professor, I am posting all the photographs and maybe some videos later on tonight of things that we've seen at NAB. All my interviews will be online within a day or two, so everything that we've done from the beginning, the interview with Tom Curran at Paladin, and also Callie Lewis and AMD. Again, there's about 45 interviews that we've done. They'll all be online live, and Facebook page is a good way to get there. And then last but not least, you might want to follow me on our Rebel Mouse page, and that's Rebel Mouse Gadget Professor, Rebel Mouse Gadget Professor. What that does is it takes all our tweets and it puts it in a pictorial form, and every 15 minutes or 20 minutes it's actually updated and gives you a visual overview of every new product that is worth its salt, all in pictorial form. This changes 20 times a day, this page. I myself follow this, and the Gadget Professor has robots that actually go out and seek what's new in the industry, and we tweet that. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, it would be @GadgetProfessor. And you can email me anytime, 24 hours a day, at thegadgetprofessor@gmail.com, thegadgetprofessor@gmail.com. It's been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to be here for NAB 2014, and I look forward to seeing everybody on the show tomorrow night. A new show every Thursday night, and if you missed that show, you can just go to the website, thegadgetprofessor.com, and check it out. Thank you so much. This is Don Bain, the Gadget Professor, signing off. Stay healthy. Talk to everybody Thursday. Bye-bye.